Right, hopefully everybody can see me. So my name is Robbie Emerson, and today we're going to be talking about Microsoft 365. So without further ado, hello, I'm Robbie. I'm a technical lead here at Osiris, and I've been with the company for about 7 years now. I've also got Harrison with me, who you heard a moment ago. He's one of our apprentices, and he's nearly finished his infrastructure engineer level 3 apprenticeship. Today, we're going to be talking about Office or Microsoft 365. You may know it as Office 365, but it's recently been rebranded to Microsoft 365. And it's a productivity platform which provides you with a wealth of different apps to make your business successful. So without further ado, let's have a look. So this is the periodic table of Microsoft 365. And you can see here, there is lots and lots of things. And it might be a little bit overwhelming at first. I wouldn't be surprised if you've never seen or even used or even seen half of the apps that are listed here. So today we're going to dive into some of the most important apps and what they're used for. This periodic table is really great because it shows how they link as well. So I'd suggest going to this website, jumped365.com, and clicking on some of these buttons as well, because it can show you a little bit more about the product and how it integrates with some of the other products that are around it. Groups. So groups are the glue that keep everything else together. A group is created when you want a set of people collaborating around a common goal. And when you create a group, it creates all of these different things. It creates an Outlook shared mailbox. It creates a Microsoft Teams team. It creates a Yammer site. It creates a shared calendar. It creates a SharePoint site. It creates a planner team. And it creates a shared OneNote. And what we're going to do today is talk about when you create a group and it creates all of these things, why may we use any one specific application and why and how that might benefit you. So when should you create a group? Well, you create a group for a couple of different reasons. Either it be around a function, so your finance team or your HR team or any other business function, or for a group of people working on a project. That may have a specific life cycle or just that need to collaborate on a day-to-day basis. So should you create teams for everything? Well, not necessarily. And creating a group, as you can see, does a lot of things. It creates a lot of different things. So it's not always best to create a new group because you create a lot of information and a lot of places to store information that you may not necessarily need. Consider creating a private channel in Microsoft Teams, for example, where you can have a subset of people from a bigger group have access to documents and a chat which is completely separated from the rest of the group. So Microsoft Teams. Now, we have already done a webinar on Microsoft Teams, so I'm not going to go too deeply into Microsoft Teams, but it is the hub for teamwork. Teams is the place which actually connects all of these different apps. Using Teams, you can access your SharePoint sites, your OneDrive data, your OneNote, chat with individuals or teams, create appointments and meetings, and even have phone calls if you have the phone system integration. Teams is designed to bring all of your apps together into a single workspace, allowing you to complete a number of different tasks without having to switch into different apps. So some examples, you can create a shared OneNote, which you can actually use with the team and pin that into Teams. And I'll show you that in a few moments. SharePoint Online. So SharePoint is used to store documents in a more effective format than regular folder systems and to bring an organization together so that everybody receives critical information that's relevant to them. The core benefits of SharePoint are it brings context to documents and folders. So a traditional file system is usually a folder on a server somewhere or a mapped drive, which you've probably heard of. And SharePoint is more effective than this because it brings context around files by automatically tracking versions of a document for example, by automatically tracking versions of the document. For example, in a traditional folder setup, you can't have a running version history for each document or see any changes to the file. You have to create, final version, final version, final version 2. And often when sharing files, that becomes even more of a problem. Whereas with SharePoint, there's more information provided around the file itself. And if you want to, you can simply go back into an older version of a document. It's not just a file sitting in a folder. It's an evolving piece of information that has a history as well as a context. SharePoint and Teams also enable constant communication. In the past, you may have sent out a group email and copied everybody in and attached a file. The problem with this is that a lot of the time these emails are either ignored, lost, or misunderstood. This leads to documents being lost, or multiple versions of the same document being created by different people, which create confusion and lacks any collaboration. You then have someone who has to go away and put all these different changes together to create an amalgamation of everybody's different ideas, as opposed to one file which everybody's sharing and working on ideas with. SharePoint also allows you to store your information centrally. So it stores all of your company data, whether this is an update from your CEO, an important company HR information, or any other files which you need shared with a lot of people. You can create SharePoint sites for specific sites or specific functions, again, your HR team, your finance team, or you can create a company-wide SharePoint, and I'll show you an example of that. SharePoint is also designed around getting everybody to collaborate together. The beauty of things being in a central place is that everybody knows where to find them. And again, when everybody opens those files, multiple people can work on that file together and it will update for everybody in real time. So let's do a little bit of a swap over into our actual Office 365 environment, and I'll show you a bit more about what I mean. So here we go. Hopefully that's shifted over to everyone. So I've got an Office 365 account open here, and this is our demo Office 365 setup. And you can see this is the homepage for Office 365, and you can see these icons, which I'm sure you'll all be familiar with, Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, etc. And if we open up SharePoint, you'll see that we get a number of different SharePoint sites, news from these sites, frequent sites that we visit. But if we actually click on the landing page, this will take us to what is essentially a company intranet. So this can be used to get everybody to share news with everybody within the company, and can also be used to show links to different parts within the company as well. So the HR team, a new HR person, for example, may not know exactly where to find the HR information, but it's very obvious. If we go to the homepage, we can go up to the easy links, click on HR, and go straight into the HR information. We can also see events which are going on and open up a shared events calendar, a Q&A, or fly safe information. And we can also use this to find even more information here. And this is all built out in a very easy way. So actually anybody within your company could do this and create it. But it becomes a very nice, flows very nicely, very easy thing for people to use. So if we go back, so I'm just going to swap back to our PowerPoint. So when do we not use, just before I move on, when do we not use SharePoint? Well, we don't want to use SharePoint for storing our personal files, because by default, it's in the name, SharePoint will always have those files shared with other people. We want to use those, we want to put our own personal files in a thing called OneDrive. What is OneDrive? So OneDrive is essentially the place where you store your own personal files. Similar to SharePoint, it can be used to share files as well, but it's the place which you store your own personal files. So you can think of it as a replacement. If many of you have probably used the home folder, or it might be called your P drive, or your personal drive. And this is where you might store files at the moment which are personal to you or that you don't share with other people. OneDrive is a replacement for that, and you can put those files in OneDrive instead. You can also use OneDrive, and a really powerful function of OneDrive is to back up your desktop documents and photos automatically. Once OneDrive automatically syncs your files, it allows you to access them from any device. So you can be working on a file on your laptop, on your desktop, in the office, go away and carry on working on that on your phone or iPad or any other tablet. OneDrive also allows for co-authoring of documents, just like SharePoint. So again, when don't we use OneDrive? Well, we don't want to use OneDrive for large-scale collaboration. If we're using OneDrive, we want to use it for sharing a file with one other person or maybe 2 other people, but we don't want to use it to share it with 50 other people. That's when we want to create a group and put that information into SharePoint. OneNote. So let's just show you OneNote as well. So OneNote is a note-taking and personal information management app for collecting, organizing, and sharing digital information. So you use it to store notes, photos, videos, audio, handwriting. You can write with a pencil, anything that you can keep as a quick note. And you can also create a shared notebook to do the same with your team. And that gives you a nice, really easy way to keep meeting notes, create an internal knowledge base of information that's relevant to everybody within the team, or there's many other ways to use it. So again, let's go back and I'll show you OneNote. So just want to swap over to here and share. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to access OneNote. Again, you can use the OneNote app within office.com. We can click that here and then open our notebook here. Or installed with every Windows 10 machine is the OneNote for Windows 10 app. And if I type in OneNote here, you can see we're able to access that on the desktop as well. So if I open that up, this is a slightly nicer way of accessing the same information. So you can see here, the way OneNote works is we create sections. Oh, there we go, sorry. So I'll just go back. So we can access OneNote through, here we go. So you can access OneNote through office.com. You can just click that here and then open up our OneNote. Or there is also a OneNote for desktop. So on every Windows 10 machine, it's pre-installed. We can open up OneNote. So if we click start and search OneNote, that app can be opened, and then that's this version. They look very similar. They work very similar. The desktop app is a little bit easier to use. So you can see here, we've got quick notes, personal development, technical goals, and a help desk migration section. And adding new sections can be done down here. So we can add a new section very easily, and we can call that whatever we want. So then we can add pages. So the way the system works is sections and pages, and then pages is where you store your information. So if we go to our personal development tab, you can see we haven't got any pages yet. We've just got an untitled page. If we press new page here, we could actually put meeting notes in here. So we're going to go over to insert and meeting details. And over on the right hand side here, we've got discuss personal development plan meeting booked in today. And we can click that and it will input the information. And then from there, we can take our notes. So we can discuss those and then put some notes in here. So plan will exist 2 years, will include, and then we can put lots more information in here. We can also add files. So we can click file here and add files. We can add a PDF as a printout. So it will actually print the information onto the PDF into the note. We can add pictures, online videos, audio, lots of things into here, including little stickers we could add as well. And if we click into another page, you can see again how this might be used. So for example, we've got some information on migration of a help desk system. some information on how that phone system then functions, and how to set up an integration, for example. So how these people may go around it, setting up their integration, how to set up two-factor authentication on that account, and where to find the mobile app. Right, so let's, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump back now, and we're going to talk a little bit more about OneDrive and SharePoint for one specific reason. That I just want to go back to all apps, Office 365, close this things down. So one thing that a lot of people I find don't actually know about is that you can actually sync your OneDrive and SharePoint sites to your computer. So if we click into OneDrive again, this will show all of my files which I've got in OneDrive, including my OneNote notebook. But if we press this sync button up here, this will open up Microsoft OneDrive. So if we press yes on this, and then set up, so we sign in. So again, you may be prompted to sign into your account, and you just do so. And then we get access to our OneDrive folder. So if we press next, 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 later, and open. So you can see now we've actually connected our OneDrive. So you can see all of those same files that were available here are now available directly on a computer. And we can just click into those to open them. So if I want to open up the department budgets file, I just click onto that file, and here it is, opened in the desktop version of Word, ready to edit. And I can close that down as well. And these icons here, the status icon, you'll see a few different icons here. The cloud means that it's available as long as you are online. So normally that's not a problem. But if you were using a laptop and you were going to take it away with you, and you wanted to work on a specific document, what you can do is you can right click onto that file and press always keep on this device. If you click that, it will download the file to your machine, and you'll get a different tick, and that means that it's always going to download and keep the latest copy of that file on your device. So you could then work on this when you're offline, and when you come back, you connect your laptop up to the internet, it will sync that file back up to OneDrive. We can also, if we open this file up, we can also, and there's a couple of different ways to do it, but we can also see the version history of that. So if we click here, we can see version history, click on that file, and then we can see that it was updated on the 19th of May. And we could even open this file up. Oh, there's only one copy, so we can't, but we could open these old versions of the file up and then copy that information as well. Don't worry, this is all demo information, so we're not leaking any credit card numbers here. We may be able to do it with the department budget, so let's just see. No, so we can't. But so what we can also do from here is we could share that file. So I'm going to go to File and Share. And then I can share that file with anyone with the link, which would allow external collaboration, people inside my organization with the link, people with existing access, or specific people. Now, it's important that you set the right option here, because we do find that people who create anonymous links or links for anybody within inside the organization, it's easy for you to send that link to the wrong person, or for that link to appear in the wrong place. And therefore the people who you wouldn't expect to have access can have access to a document. So usually we recommend to use specific people, and that will allow you to still invite external people, but you have to specify their email address. So if we click that, we can also choose whether to allow editing, or if we were using a link, we can block people from downloading that file. So now I'm going to type in the email address of who I want to send it to, and you can see it pre-fills in the name of the person and say, "Hi Adele, could you open this and have a look, please?" And send that straight over to Adele. That will send her an email with the information that I've just said, and also send her a link to the file to open up that file directly. So hopefully she should be able to open up that file in a second, and we'll be able to see some of the real-time collaboration that Office 365 allows. So within Office 365, any files within OneDrive or SharePoint can be worked on by multiple people at the same time. So you can see here, Adele's little icon has appeared, and we can now see her name within the department budgets Word document that we've got open. So if we wanted her to, for example, if she went and deleted the department budgets title or heading, which she's going to do in a second, we should see that update in real time for us. And she will also be able to see where I type here. She will also be able to see this immediately as soon as it's done. So if we just, let's just cancel that. Let's just reopen that file quickly. So we can see it's been removed now. Something strange happened there, but we can see that she's now, yeah, there we go. So we can see that's happening in real time, almost completed. I can delete this and she sees it straight away. Again, we can see her actually moving around the screen as we're doing it, which is really, really powerful. As you can imagine, this means that you can collaborate so much easier than usually. Up the top here, we've got a comments section, and we've actually been using this internally a lot more. You can also share using the icon up here directly in Word as well. But if we press onto comments and use comment or mention, we can actually leave comments for people. And if I type the name, type the email address of the person that I want to, this will actually send them a message to say that they've been mentioned in the document, and therefore, again, they'll be able to see, can you? And then she can go in, edit the file, reply back to say, yeah, that's been done. And again, I'll get an email, but I'll also see it within the document as soon as it happens. Right, so let's close that off. And we'll go back to our PowerPoint. Right, so hopefully that's OneNote, OneDrive, and SharePoint. So planner, to-do, and tasks. So that's the next one. So planner is a hub for your team members to create plans, organize, and assign tasks to different people, and check on updates through dashboards. That then links with To-Do, which is a personal organizational app, and it allows you to create lists of tasks which you need to complete. It also imports those tasks that are created in Planner, and then it allows you to add them to My Day to organize your day. Your tasks from Outlook, if you remember the flagging system in Outlook, will also appear in here. So let's do a bit of a show and tell on that as well. Sorry, one moment. Okay, so if we go back here, so let's, we're going to open up Teams for this, because what we've done is inside Teams, we've created a plan and linked that in here. So if we open up our, I think it's this one. Yeah, so if we open up the product launch event, this shows, oh, again, I need to press the share button. There we go. So what we did here is we went inside Teams, and within Teams, we've added a tab for our plan. So if we press add a tab and then planner, we can either use an existing plan from one of our existing teams, which is already here, or we can create a new plan. So if I click this and hit save, it will open this up. This then has a number of tasks which are happening. So we've got some which are to do, some which are on track, some which are at risk, some which are blocked, and we can add new buckets for new things that we wanted to. So we could put in here a rejected. And what we can do then is we can move tasks around from one place to another. So the day of event setup might now be happening, and it might be at risk because we're running behind schedule. And that can be moved. So we just click and drag that over to at risk. And then we can see that in a visual way, we can see that that's now at risk. We could also update that task. So if we click into the task, we can add some notes. We could add a comment. So again, I can use my Hey Adele, and assign that person onto this as well and send that off. And again, that will send them a notification, that will send them an email, and they'll also have that task assigned to them in to do, which I'll show you in a second. So we can also set this is in progress. So if we open up a task, we can set which bucket is in. So again, the same as dragging and moving it. We can assign it extra people or remove the person that's assigned. We can add progress. So it could be not started, in progress, or completed, and the priority on that. So we've got a start date and a due date as well. You can also create checklists. So we could create a checklist of different items that all need to be completed before the task is completed, and we could show those on that task. So here again, we can see all these different things that need to be completed. We could tick those off, and now we know those are completed. We could tick this off, nice little tick, and it actually usually disappears. We were just seeing the completed tasks there, but we can hide those so that we can see everything's been completed. And again, we can just go through and complete those. Another way to see this as the person completing the tasks would be to open To Do. Now again, To Do can be accessed in a couple of different ways. It can be accessed from the web. So if we go back here to our office.com and go to To Do, we can see our tasks here. And we can see our flagged emails. We can see things that are assigned to me, and we can see things that are planned in our planner. And the plan date and the due date on those is from the start date and the due date in planner. We can also, and again, I find it a lot easier, is to go to the Microsoft Store, which if we type store into the search bar and go here, we can download, if we search Microsoft To Do, we can download Microsoft To Do. And where this says get, we just press on that and it will download it for us. We've already got it installed, so let's launch it. So this is what it looks like on the desktop. So we can, from here, we can click on specific tasks and see a bit more information about those tasks, open them directly in Planner, which I'll show you in a second. And we can also see, so we can see any one of those tasks. We can star them, which will add them to your important tasks. And we can also move them to today if we need to, for things that we're going to do that day. We can also complete them from here as well. So again, our flagged email, we could right click and add that to My Day, which will show up here. And then we can go into My Day and tick that off. And also adding new tasks is very easy as well. So again, within My Day, I can create a new task, which is run a Microsoft webinar. And that shows up straight away. And then again, I can click on just to complete that. I can add files to that. I can add notes to that. I can set it to remind me. So it can be used as a really good reminder to remind me later today to do this task. And then it'll send me a notification on my phone, just like with a meeting reminder or a normal task reminder that you might set in Outlook to do that later today. Okay, so I'm also just going to show you this in Planner itself. So from here, let's open this up. Yes, Lee, there will be a recording of this, so you can view it later. We still have got quite a lot to go through, so by all means stick around. But yeah, there will be something to view afterwards. So inside Planner, we can create a new plan. Now, very interestingly, creating a plan also creates a group. So it's talking about earlier, we're creating Microsoft groups. Do you want to do that? Or do you want to link it to an existing group? So actually here we want to use to an existing group, add it to our leadership group, for example. So leadership plan. Create a plan. Now, when we create that in Planner, it looks quite similar to how it does in Microsoft Teams, but we can see a little bit easier who are the members of this team and who are we going to start assigning tasks to. when you've got your plan, so let's just open up this one as well. Again, we can open up a chart, and this chart is a really powerful way to see what's happening, how it's happened over the course of the project. So how many things have happened late, how many have been completed, how many are in progress, how many are not started, which buckets, you know, how many tasks are in which bucket. If everything's in to do, that's a bad thing. If they're all on track, great. But it's a really easy way of seeing that information. You can also scroll down and see who's assigned which tasks. So we can see maybe Lee is a little bit overworked. He's got 4 tasks. Nobody else has got any more than 1 task. So that's just another really nice way of seeing all this information. We can also click on a schedule, which will show us, it's a little bit, let's show you over a week. Yeah, so we can see over the week, the things which are happening this week. So we can see this week, we've got the day of event set up, the event webcast, all these things are going on during this time. But this keynote demo planning finishes on Thursday. But we can see that all these other things are happening. So that's tasks to do in Planner. Let's go back to our PowerPoint and talk about Microsoft Forms. So Microsoft Forms, it's similar to if anybody's used SurveyMonkey, things like that. And it's a simple, lightweight app that lets you create surveys, quizzes, and polls. It can be used to collect customer feedback. And I think you'll actually be getting a Microsoft form after today's webinar to fill out about how you think it went. Measure employee satisfaction. So I know we've got somebody in the chat today, I believe, who's used this before to measure employee satisfaction and get feedback from employees within your company. And you can send out forms to everybody to complete. Might only take them 5 minutes, and you get all of those reports back straight away. Improve your product or business or organize company events. Again, you could set up a poll for, you know, who, maybe not at the moment, but, you know, who wants to go skiing for our next company away day, you know, who wants to do this or that, you can set that up through there. So let's quickly jump back and show you Microsoft Forms. Okay, so from our Office 365 bar. So what we're going to want to do is press on the All Apps button. That will show us all of the apps that we've got available in Office 365 or in Microsoft 365. Click onto Forms. You can also, on any one of these, generally is press the little I, and it will show you information about the forms, forms, for example, with some videos from Microsoft about how to create forms, creating surveys, you know, and things that you can do with it, which is really helpful. But let's just open up Forms. So welcome to Microsoft Forms, and we can create a form here. We can create a form, or we can create a quiz. Now, in the education sector, quizzes can actually be used to set homework and set correct answers and have things completed themselves. For internally, you could use it for things like if you were using a new piece of technology within the organization, or if you were using doing something in a new way inside the organization and wanted everybody to know it, you could do some training on that. And then afterwards, you could run a quiz with correct and right and wrong answers that people could complete after the training to confirm they've understood and gained the knowledge. But we've created an employee satisfaction survey. So I'm going to open that up. So straight away, we've got a title. So we can just click in here and we can change that title. We could also, if we wanted to, we could insert an image, and you can get those from OneDrive. You can get those from, so we could just search in here and add this in, for example, and that'll put that in there. We can give it a description. You know, please give us honest thoughts. And then we can start adding questions. So you can see I've already added some questions. So here we've got a scale, so 1 to 10. We've also got some multiple choice. So do you feel connected to your coworkers? Yes, no, I'm not sure. We've also got a star rating. So out of 5, how would you rate us? Again, we've got some more multiple choice. And these can have different answers, you know, yes, no, maybe, very transparent, quite transparent, not transparent. It can be anything you like. And if we go right to the bottom and add new, we can also add, so we can add a choice like this. We can add a text field, so we can give people the option to leave a long form answer. If we want to get more detailed company feedback, we can ask for a rating as we had there, or we can add a date. So when do you think we should, you know, when do you want to come back to work, you know, into the office, and you can put that information in there. We can select a whether or not that's required as well. So we may want to add a question in there, but allow employees to answer it at their own will. So actually, we're going to make this question required, but for another question, we're going to say, actually, you don't have to answer that question. We can also allow people to leave multiple answers. So although it might not be relevant here, we could allow people to leave multiple answers if multiple things apply to them. And then we can move these up and down as well. So if we think if this is our most important question, we want to put it right at the top, we can bring that all the way up and make that question 1. We could also copy that question. If all of the answers to that question are going to stay the same, but we want to change this from how happy are you at work, we want to add another question for, I don't know, how sad are you at work? We can add that as well. So we can type that in here. And all of this is saved automatically. So as soon as I've typed that, that's now saved. Well, there's no need to press save or do anything like that. It's saved automatically. We can preview it, so we can see what it will look like to people who are actually completing it. So we press preview. This is what it looks like, and we can see that on computer or on mobile. So it might be important that whoever is answering your quiz, if it's an external person, you actually want them to be able to do it from whatever device they want, and you can see what it will look like. And then we can see that the way in which people can answer these questions. So let's go back. We can also add themes. So these are all Microsoft created themes, and they try to make it, you know, nice little backgrounds and things like that. And these are all provided by default, but you can as well add your own and create your own custom themes. So once we've created our form, we can share it. So if I hit share, we're going to copy this. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to share this with via Outlook. So we're going to go back to Office and go to Outlook, and we're going to open up a message, and we're going to send a message to Adele. Let's say, please complete this. I'm going to send that form over to her. And what we're going to now do is go to responses, and we can see a quick information on how many responses we've had, the average time it takes people to complete it, whether or not that this form is active, and then we can actually share that summary as well with other people. Once we have some results, we'll be able to click the review results button and see everybody's results. And then we can also open that in Excel. If we want to do some sort of further analysis on that, we can open it in Excel as well. So the responses should also be in real time. So we should see this update as soon as it's been completed. Just while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go back to mail. And you can see here, this is from earlier, that we were actually left a comment to say, should this be included? And we can see that straight away. And we can go to that comment. And if we press go to comment, we can go back to that file. And as it loads, it's going to show the comment. And here we go. So we can see that comment and reply straight away. Again, just a really nice way to collaborate together. So if we go to forms, I'm just going to refresh this and just see if that's... So we can see we've had a response now. So the average time it took to complete was 17 seconds, and it's active, and we can review that result. So if we review results, we can see the respondent. So if it's internal, you can capture their name. If it was an external quiz, you can put required answers of first name, last name, and have it done that way. But because it's an internal one, we can see, because they were logged in, who it was who answered the quiz. And we can see how they feel about everything within the quiz, or that was in the form. And then we can also open that in Excel. So I'm just going to click open and open. And then that shows every single answer, that person, and all the answers that they gave. So again, you could use that for analytics purposes. Right, let's go back to our PowerPoint. We've had a few questions about forms, so I'll answer those before we go any further. Let's just go back to forms. So within forms, when I create a form, does it only save in my Office account? The respondent come back to me, can I alter where the responses go and where the form is stored so it can be altered by others, results can be accessed by others? Okay, so what you can do is you can move it and you can create group forms. So you could put it, you can put that form into, for example, the leadership team. Once you do that, everybody inside that group is able to access all of the information, edit the form as well, and do everything like that. So if we go into group forms now and leadership, we can see it's in here, and everybody with access to that group is able to edit that form and then share it out as well. So again, we can work on this file in real time and share it out. With the share button, we can change who we send and collect responses from. So if we press the drop down, we can do only people inside my organization can respond, and that forces them to sign in, or we can send it to anyone with the link. And that's how you would do your external collaboration. So you can send that to anyone, copy this, and you can even embed it on web pages. So you could have it embedded on your website for people to click on and fill out, and then that response will come to you in here. I believe it will also send you an email when you get responses, which you can configure, and then you will see that you've had responses to that as well. So hopefully that answers the question. So yeah, again, you can make it anonymously. You would make it anonymous by setting it to be, I think, let me just check a couple of things. Okay, yeah. So if it's an internal one, if we go to the settings and select only people inside my organization, you can untick record name. At that point, it will then be anonymous. So if you wanted a proper employee satisfaction survey, I guess, you could set it so that it wasn't recording the name, and therefore, people can give their very, very honest feedback, and that can be done that way. You can also set notifications, so get email notification for each response. Again, you can be notified straight away, or you can just leave that off. You can shuffle the questions around, have a customized, create a customized thank you message, and you can also time out your survey. So your survey you may only want to run for a week. You can create the link, create a start and an end date, and put that, know that that will expire after a certain amount of time as well. You can also share it as a template. So you can, you could create this as a template, which you can then share with other departments. You might want to run a department by department survey, but you don't want everybody filling out the same survey because you want to separate out the information. There's a couple of ways you could do that, but one way is you could share that with each different department manager, and then they could create a duplicate of it. And again, you can share this directly and allow other people to edit it. So we can select whether or not that's everybody, people within our organization, or specific people. So that is forms. So there's one other question. I request a lot of external references for volunteers. Can Microsoft Forms be used externally and confidentially? Do you get notification when each form has been filled in? When reviewing answers filled in, can it be shared with colleagues individually? Okay, so it can be used externally and confidentially in the sense that if you share it with somebody external, they're not going to be able to see other people's answers, definitely. They would only see the form to fill out. When reviewing answers, can they be shared with colleagues individually? The best way to do that would be to keep the information private and then open it in Excel and share the Excel, share that line of response with the person you want to share it with. So to go into detail on that, if I open this in Excel again, we could then copy this line and share it with somebody, either by creating a new workbook and sharing that with them, or by sharing it in Microsoft Teams or something like that. But probably that would be the way to do that, as opposed to, because otherwise if you put it in a team, everybody would be able to access it and see all of the responses that you've had. Can the form be printed and handed out? The form could be printed. It's not really, it's designed for people to use online, but you probably, I'm sure you could create it if you preview it like this. You could print it out at that point. Yeah, that could, I'm sure that's possible. Generally, as I said, it's designed to be done online, but that can be done. Right, so we're going to run out of time. So let's go back to our PowerPoint, and we'll just finish up with the last couple of things that we've got here. Whiteboard. So Microsoft Whiteboard is a free-form digital canvas. So it's just like a whiteboard in your office. But, especially with not many people coming into the office at the moment, especially not probably using whiteboards together. Whiteboard is a great way to collaborate with your team and essentially, as you would on a whiteboard, draw out ideas, do lots of things like that. And again, that can be used by multiple people. So you could have a whiteboard where everybody has that on their own device, is able to, draw on, type on, do anything they want with that whiteboard all at the same time again. So if we go back and share our again, just close this down. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to type whiteboard. Oh, we just need to install it. So we're going to go to the store again. So this is the Microsoft Store. Search whiteboard. And we want Microsoft Whiteboard. And again, this can also be viewed online. So I'm going to show you this online. So we go back to home and whiteboard. So this is a whiteboard that I created earlier. And if we open this up, here it is. And in order to collaborate on this, we just grab a pen. So we're going to grab the red pen and we're going to underline that. And at the moment, I'm just doing this with my mouse. But if you're on an iPad or an iPhone or any other Android tablet or anything like that, you could draw on that if you want to. And then I can go up here and I can share this. So we can create a sharing link and we can invite that by email as well. So we're just going to create a sharing link, copy this over, and we're going to share this again. So new message. Send that over. Whiteboard can also be used inside Microsoft Teams. So I'm just going to open up, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to open up Teams and start a meeting. In here, I'm just going to use the Meet Now function and use Meet Now. And we can actually, if we hit the share button within Microsoft Teams, we can actually go down and use Microsoft Whiteboard on the right-hand side here. So if we press that, again, this will show the whiteboard. This will show the whiteboard for everybody, and everybody within this meeting will be able to use Whiteboard as well. And again, everybody can open it in their own app to then collaborate together. So this is a separate board that from a minute ago. And again, we can copy the link, share that with people who aren't in this meeting perhaps, but also just share that with anybody if we want to. And when we're done, we can then export that image as well, so that we can save it and perhaps use it in some other way. But for now, let's just hang this meeting up and go back to our whiteboard. So we can see here already, Adele has managed to start adding information to this whiteboard. So she's just putting meeting notes in, and I can start drawing here, and we can actually see each other moving around together. And again, this would be really useful if you're in a Teams call and you just want to start throwing out ideas around, because this canvas can be expanded as large as you like. If we select this, we can move this all the way over here. And if I start drawing off the screen actually expands to allow me to draw further and further and further. And that can be expanded to an unlimited size. So just scrolling out, you can see we're already much bigger, and we can just get bigger and bigger and bigger, which is really nice. So that's Microsoft Whiteboard. So let's just back to our PowerPoint. Okay, and final thing we're going to talk about is Microsoft Stream. Microsoft Stream is a video service where people in your organization can upload, view, and share videos securely. It's almost like your internal YouTube. You can use this for, in a school, you can use this for classes, meetings, presentations, training sessions, or any other videos that may aid your team. We use this a lot internally to record our meetings in Teams. So if anybody has used recordings in Teams before, they're stored in Microsoft Stream. It also allows you to share comments on a video, tag time codes in comments, and descriptions to refer to specific points in a video, and discuss those with colleagues. It will also do, depending on your licensing, but it will also do translation or descriptions of the video itself. So let's hop into Stream quickly and show you a little bit more about Stream. We have got a couple more questions, so I'm just going to make sure these have been answered. Okay, yeah, those have all been answered, so I'm just going to close those off for now. If anybody else has any more questions, by all means, just ask. Even if it's not related to Stream, anything that's you want to ask, by all means, go ahead. So if we go back to Office Home, we want Microsoft Stream. Microsoft Video is being phased out in favor of Microsoft Stream, so it's best to use Stream. So if we open up Stream, we can see already that there's some videos here which have already been added. And if we go to Discover and Videos, we can see all the videos that have been uploaded, by who, and what they might be about. So if we click on the, oh, done it again. Right, let's go back to Office Home. So if we go to Stream here, open this up, and go to Discover Videos, we can see all the videos that have been uploaded. And if we click on one, it will play just similar to a YouTube video. That'll start playing straight away. We can see on the right-hand side, we can actually get a transcript. So we can see exactly what's being said. Click to a specific part, and it will actually skip to that bit as well. We can see the name of it, who it's been shared by. We can share that, add comments. Again, very similar to YouTube, but all created internally. You can view your own content, your own videos, etc. And you can also create videos. So many people don't know, but within Microsoft Stream, there is actually functionality now to record your screen directly in Microsoft Stream. So if we press record screen, we can't do it because we're in the wrong browser, but we can actually record our screen here and add our webcam and audio, video. We can do everything all directly in Microsoft Stream. Once that's done, we can then share that with colleagues. Again, useful for training material, that sort of thing. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. And I think that's everything. So yeah, thank you for everybody. It's been another long hour. Yeah, that's been really helpful. I can see there's a couple of questions coming in already. So if anybody's got any more questions, please send them in. I'll go back to Stream because I can see the questions about Stream at the moment. So let's just jump back in there. Right. So you can create a live event in here. It's very similar to a Teams live event. I think they're interchangeable. They are the same thing, as far as I'm aware. You just can't find, there we go. English is at the top. And we can, you can create a live event. You can upload a video directly in here as well, if you wanted that video to just play. But it's just another way, similar to Teams, to actually create a live event. Videos can be shared externally as well. So yeah, if we go to videos, we can share that. And again, if we want to, this could be shared externally. So by default, it's set to only users within inside your organization, but it can be set to externally. Again, you can embed these on your website, and you could share a video which starts at 5 seconds or 20 seconds inside. So the video will start with that bit pre-buffered for people, and you can email that off as well. So yeah, by default, it's not set to allow externally, but you can enable it. Yeah. So I think that's everything. Does anybody have any more questions, or should we leave it there? Hopefully this has been helpful for everybody. Yeah, 1 second. Let's just get back to there. Yeah, hopefully that's been helpful for everybody. I don't know if anybody has any more questions. Oh, I can see there is a few questions. Right. Okay, so can the responses, so this will be a forms question, can the responses be identified using a customer ID rather than from the email address that they've been sent from? I don't think they can be set from a customer ID. I think it is just email address, unfortunately. Is Stream's live event available to internal participants? Yes, it is. Yeah, you can use Stream's live event internally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Can shared video be set with a time limit to expire? I don't know off the top of my head. I think you can set functionality for that. It would surprise me. You can everywhere else in Microsoft 365. So I'd be surprised if you couldn't in Stream. I'll just have a quick look. Let me just see. I can't see a function for it directly. So I'd probably have to get back to you on that one. But usually within 365, there are ways to do that. So yeah, we can see if that is possible. If moving from a remote logging and personal ID, what is the best way to copy files over to OneDrive? So that's a really good point, actually. Getting started with OneDrive is pretty easy. The way I generally do it with users when I'm helping them directly is to just take my P drive or my home folder or anything that's saved anywhere else and copy it straight from my desktop into my OneDrive folder. So I'll show you how to do that from the environment. So if we come back here and just close these things down. Right. From our desktop, if we press onto the File Explorer icon and get to here, under this PC, you would usually have your, your Mac drive or your home folder or your P drive. And what we'll do is I'll just create some, create a few test files in here. So what you would do is if we assume this folder is our home drive, if we open that up and select everything, either by clicking and dragging or Control A, clicking on a file and Control A, and then all we want to do is use cut or copy. A lot of people prefer copy because they're a bit scared. I prefer to cut, but copy, go into OneDrive. So we can see that this has already been synced, so we don't need to do anything. If it hasn't been synced, I'll just show you how to do that again. So if we go back to Office and go to OneDrive, want to go to sync and then follow the prompts on the screen. It should talk you through it. If you have any problems, you can contact our help desk and we can help with that. And then from here, so we're going to copy those files that we copied earlier, and then we're just going to paste. And you can see they all appear. Now what happens is you can see we get the little syncing icon, which is those two arrows pointing towards each other. And what that means is that those files are still being uploaded to OneDrive. If you have a lot of files, that can take a lot of time, like a number of hours. And the best thing to do is to check in the bottom right-hand corner here, where we've got OneDrive, and it will show the files which are being uploaded. And it may tell you that it's got, 5,000 files or something left to do. The best thing to do is actually to leave that and let that happen. Even if it means leaving your computer on, it's best to just let that finish. And then from there, it'll be a very easy updating files as they're changed. What I'll also show you is you can do the same thing, syncing your OneDrive data. You can do the same thing in SharePoint. So I'm actually going to show you from Teams. So if we open up Teams, we can see that within our sales and marketing general folder, we've got some files. We don't, one second, I think I've got one of these that does have some files. So we've got this that has some files, and we can click here and we can open this in SharePoint directly here, but we can also just straight from Teams hit sync. So if we press sync on that, that's going to again open up OneDrive, and then you can see you are now syncing Mark 8 project team files, digital assets web. If we click on that, we can see that those files are in here now. And this has created a new folder on the left-hand side here. So where we had OneDrive Contoso, we've now got Contoso, the company. And these are company files, so they're in a separate space, and these are just here. So if we click into this folder, these same files from earlier, these two files here, are now saved in here. And again, we can directly from here, so we don't necessarily have to interact with Teams. We can right-click, new file, create our test file. And you can see at the moment we've got our two arrows, and this is our syncing icon. If I press complete that file, we've now got our tick. If we go into OneDrive, we can see that's now updated in there. And just for sake of what we're going to do in Teams is just press reload tab. And you can see our test documents appeared straight away. So we can now open that up and edit it in Teams or share it in Teams if we wanted to. If I click close, we can go back to our posts and actually attach the team file directly and share a link here. Can you update this, please? So we can just share that file really quickly from there then. We can also upload it directly into Teams from our computer, but a lot of people find it much easier to get used to using Teams, used to using SharePoint when it comes in this function, because it's a lot more similar to what you were using before. So that's a really key way to do that. Okay, I'll just see if there's any more questions. I don't think there's any more questions there. Anything more in the chat? No, I think that's everything. So I think we'll probably end it there. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It's been really good. If anybody does have any more questions, by all means, contact our help desk. We'll be sending out a feedback form afterwards, so please give your honest feedback on that. If there's anything else we can do for you, just give us a call on 01603 964 914. Thank you very much.